Power doesn't arrive with applause. It arrives quietly, checks who can stand alone, and stays there. Nobody tells you this part. The part where going solo feels less like courage and more like exile. One day you're surrounded by noise, opinions, half-promises, and borrowed energy, and the next it's just you, your thoughts, and an uncomfortable amount of silence. Not the peaceful spa music kind of silence. The kind that asks hard questions and doesn't accept motivational quotes as answers. This is where most people panic, run back to the crowd, and call it networking. You didn't. You stayed. Here's a fact that rarely makes it into feel-good speeches. Most breakthroughs don't happen in teams, masterminds, or group chats. They happen in isolation. History quietly confirms this. Major creative, strategic, and philosophical shifts are almost always born when someone steps away long enough to hear themselves think. The universe seems to have a strange policy. If you can't survive alone, you can't be trusted with influence. Harsh? Yes. True? Also yes. Going solo isn't a flex. It's a test. A long one. No audience, no validation. No one checking if you're still on track. Just you showing up when skipping would be easier and quitting would be reasonable. This is where identity gets stripped down to essentials. Titles evaporate. Labels fall off. Even confidence takes a few hits and asks for hazard pay. Humor helps here, by the way, because if you can't laugh at yourself while rebuilding your entire inner structure, the process becomes unnecessarily dramatic. And somewhere in that quiet stretch, between being overlooked and becoming undeniable, something shifts. You stop needing permission. You stop waiting for signals. You move differently. Not loudly, not desperately, just decisively. At that point, the universe doesn't crown you because you asked. It does it because you've already proven you don't need the crown to stand tall. Number 1. You accepted obscurity before power ever noticed you. The moment you decided to go solo, you accepted something almost no one can stomach, being invisible. Not the temporary, I'll work hard and the world will see me soon kind of invisibility, but the kind that feels permanent, like you're shouting into a vacuum and nobody is there to hear you. Most people can't handle that. Most people want applause, likes, recognition, any confirmation that their effort matters. You didn't. You worked in silence. You kept building, refining, and pushing even when nobody cared, even when the world's attention seemed glued elsewhere. That is the first real test of power, and you passed it without realizing it. Obscurity is brutal because it exposes your true motives. It strips away any energy that comes from external validation. You either quit or you keep going for a reason that doesn't need anyone's approval. That reason is what separates the casual dreamers from the people the universe eventually has no choice but to crown. By accepting obscurity, you chose substance over recognition, action over comfort, and patience over impatience. The work you did in those unseen hours wasn't just preparation, it was proving that you are self-sufficient, unshakable, and relentless. This stage also reveals character. Most people crumble under the weight of being unnoticed. They start cutting corners, chasing trends, or performing for the wrong audience. You didn't. You embraced the quiet, let it sharpen you, and kept moving forward while others were busy seeking approval. That unglamorous grind created a foundation that fame, fortune, or influence can't replicate. The world doesn't hand out crowns to those who seek them. It reserves them for those who can endure being overlooked, ignored, and even doubted, and still deliver results. By the time the universe finally noticed you, it didn't have to test you anymore. You had already proven your worth in the one place that truly matters, when no one was watching. Obscurity wasn't a punishment. It was your proving ground. It wasn't the world's neglect that shaped you. It was your response to it. And that response is exactly why power didn't have a choice but to find you. Number 2, You stopped outsourcing your direction to people who were also lost. Most people move through life like a GPS stuck on recalculating, constantly asking others where to go, who to trust, and what to believe. They take advice from the loudest voices, the most confident strangers, or the people who appear successful, without realizing that those voices are often as lost as they are. You didn't do that. You realized early that borrowing someone else's direction is a trap. It might feel safe for a moment, but it costs clarity, momentum, and eventually respect. The moment you stopped asking for permission or waiting for someone else's approval, your life began moving differently. You started operating from internal authority rather than borrowed confidence, and that is a shift most people never manage. This step is brutal in its simplicity. It's easy to follow instructions, join trends, or mirror others' paths. But it takes courage to trust your own instincts when the path is unclear, when failure is real, and when nobody is cheering you on. The people around you can't see your vision because it doesn't exist in their reality. They don't understand your timing, your strategy, or your edge. Taking direction from them is like trying to build skyscrapers with blueprints for a treehouse. You refused that, and in doing so you became a force the universe had to notice. The power of self-direction isn't in arrogance, it's in clarity and accountability. You became responsible for your choices in a way that others avoided. Every decision you made without external input, every risk you took because you believed in your own assessment, strengthened you. It created a momentum that couldn't be borrowed, replicated, or faked. By the time recognition found you, it wasn't a gift. It was inevitable. You had already proven that your vision didn't depend on anyone else's map. The universe doesn't reward followers or copycats. It crowns those who can navigate the unknown, using only their instincts, their judgment, and their relentless refusal to outsource their direction. That refusal alone separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, and you chose to belong to the latter. Number 3. You made peace with being misunderstood and didn't try to correct it. Being misunderstood is one of the quietest forms of power. Most people panic when their intentions, ideas, or actions aren't instantly recognized or appreciated. They scramble to explain themselves, to clarify, to justify, wasting energy trying to force understanding from people who may never have it. You didn't do that. You made peace with the fact that being misunderstood is not a reflection of your value or insight. It's a reflection of perspective, and perspectives are limited. By letting go of the need to be understood, you freed yourself from one of the heaviest chains holding most people back: the constant demand for external validation. The brilliance of this is subtle but profound. When you stop trying to correct others' perceptions, you stop reacting to their confusion, criticism, or doubt. You don't get derailed by opinions, gossip, or half-baked interpretations. Energy that once went into convincing or explaining now goes straight into creating, building, and executing. This is where quiet authority starts to form. The world might misread your actions, twist your intentions, or label you wrongly, but none of that touches the core of what you're building. Misunderstanding becomes irrelevant because your results, not approval, tell the real story. There's also a strange kind of magnetism in being misunderstood. People sense it, even if they don't articulate it. They notice someone who moves with clarity, purpose, and confidence, while remaining impervious to misjudgment. They notice someone whose direction doesn't bend to the whims of popular perception. That imperviousness, that refusal to bend, is what makes the universe eventually crown you. You didn't achieve this peace by being cold or detached. You achieved it by understanding a simple truth. Your life is not meant to be explained. It's meant to be lived decisively, relentlessly, and unapologetically. And when you live like that, the misunderstandings don't matter. They're just background noise. The crown comes not because people understood you. It comes because you understood yourself well enough to move forward anyway. Number 4, you learn discipline without supervision. Discipline is easy when someone is watching. Deadlines, bosses, accountability partners, these all force action. But real power, the kind that makes the universe take notice, comes from discipline when nobody is paying attention. You learn to show up, grind, and deliver even when the room was empty, the calendar blank, and the applause non-existent. That is where most people fail. They need external pressure to perform. You didn't. You built a system inside yourself strong enough to run on its own. That's rare. That's exceptional. The moment you internalized discipline, you stopped relying on motivation. Motivation is fleeting, emotional, and completely unreliable. Discipline doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for inspiration. It's consistent, unwavering, and mercilessly honest. You developed routines, habits, and a mental framework that didn't bend to laziness, distraction, or comfort. You didn't do things because they were convenient or because someone demanded it. You did them because it was necessary for the path you had chosen. And that is the exact kind of foundation that the universe respects. Operating without supervision also teaches responsibility in a way no external check can. Every success, every failure, every misstep becomes entirely yours. You can't blame a manager, a partner, or circumstance. That accountability sharpens focus, hones intuition, and builds confidence. Over time, you realize that the world doesn't crown the consistent complainers or the loud overachievers. It crowns those who can maintain excellence when no one else is around to witness it. Learning discipline without supervision transforms you from someone who reacts to someone who leads. You set your standards, follow your rules, and hold yourself to a level that no one else can influence. That is how influence is built silently, power is cultivated quietly, and respect is earned invisibly. By the time recognition came, it wasn't handed to you because of luck or timing. It was inevitable because your internal discipline had already prepared you to carry it. Number 5, you realized loneliness wasn't a punishment. It was a filter. Loneliness feels like a curse when you're in it, like the world has turned its back and left you stranded. Most people spend their lives running from it, filling it with noise, distractions, or meaningless company. You didn't. You learned to sit with it, to let it settle around you and expose what mattered and what didn't. Loneliness revealed the people who were toxic, the routines that were hollow, and the ambitions that were borrowed from someone else. It wasn't a punishment, it was a filter, quietly separating what was essential from what was disposable. The power of this realization is subtle but profound. While others panicked in isolation, you leaned into it. You stopped needing constant affirmation, constant companionship, and constant reassurance. The absence of noise forced you to confront your own thoughts, weaknesses, and desires with brutal honesty. You learned which parts of you were strong enough to survive without applause, and which parts were weak enough to crumble under the slightest pressure. This kind of insight can't be taught, borrowed, or faked. It has to be lived. Loneliness also sharpened your vision. Without distractions, you saw the patterns others missed, the opportunities others overlooked, and the truths most people refused to face. It taught you to trust yourself, not the crowd. You learned that the people who truly belong in your life aren't the ones who are convenient. They're the ones who matter, and they usually appear after the filter has done its work. By the time the world noticed you, it wasn't because you were lucky or loud. It was because the filter of loneliness had refined you into someone who could survive being alone, someone who could endure rejection without flinching, and someone whose direction didn't depend on anyone else's presence. Loneliness didn't make you weak. It made you selective, focused, and untouchable in ways most people never achieve. That is why the universe doesn't crown those who chase comfort. It crowns those who learn to thrive in the absence of it. Number 6, you stopped confusing potential with entitlement. Potential is seductive. It whispers promises of greatness, teases visions of recognition, and tricks people into believing that talent alone is enough to earn the crown. Most people live their entire lives believing that being good or promising guarantees success. You didn't fall for that trap. You understood a brutal truth. Potential is invisible until it's realized, and talent means nothing without action. The moment you stopped confusing what you could be with what you actually were, everything changed. You stopped waiting for the world to hand you your due and started proving it day after day in ways that no one could ignore. This distinction between potential and entitlement is what separates dreamers from doers. Potential is a quiet possibility, fragile and untested. Entitlement is a loud expectation, demanding applause and recognition for things that haven't yet happened. Most people carry both, and that combination is dangerous, not for the world, but for themselves. They waste energy defending a promise rather than building the reality. You flipped that script. You focused on execution, not speculation. You understood that action is the only proof that potential exists, and that the universe responds to output, not intention. By living this way, you developed a different rhythm. You didn't chase validation or applause, you chased results. Every task completed, every step forward, was a small conquest against the gap between what you could be and what you actually were. You made yourself accountable to reality, not opinion. And over time, that accountability became a force that no external obstacle could ignore. When recognition finally arrived, it wasn't a favor, it was inevitable. The universe doesn't crown those who talk about potential. It crowns those who turn it into performance. You didn't just have talent, you transformed it into a track record, a series of undeniable proofs that the crown wasn't just deserved, it was overdue. Understanding this difference didn't just shape your success. It shaped your mindset, your resilience, and the way the world could no longer overlook you. Number 7, you broke loyalty with comfort, not with people. Most people misunderstand loyalty. They think it's about sticking to people, relationships, or situations, even when those things are quietly killing their growth. You understood something deeper. Loyalty isn't to comfort. It's to your own evolution. Breaking ties with comfort doesn't mean abandoning responsibility, friendship, or honor. It means refusing to stay in the soft, safe, predictable routines that numb ambition and stunt progress. While others cling to familiarity, you stepped into the unknown, knowing that real growth requires risk, sacrifice, and sometimes walking alone. Comfort is subtle. It whispers, "This is enough," while the world outside your bubble is moving faster, growing sharper and taking what you could have had. People mistake comfort for stability, safety, or wisdom, but in reality, it is the quiet assassin of potential. By choosing growth over comfort, you didn't betray anyone. You honored the only loyalty that truly matters, the loyalty to your own future self. Every hard choice you made, every risk you took, was a declaration that your path would not be dictated by ease, convenience, or fear of discomfort. Breaking loyalty with comfort also means rejecting the illusion of control. Comfort makes life predictable, but predictable lives rarely make history. You embraced discomfort as a teacher, as a signpost, and even as a companion. You didn't just endure it, you learned from it. That is what builds resilience, clarity, and authority. You became someone who could handle the chaos, the uncertainty, and the isolation that comes with creating something new. When the universe noticed you, it didn't crown you because you were liked or safe. It crowned you because you had proven that you could stand firm while everyone else clung to ease. Your allegiance to progress over comfort sent a signal louder than any boast or claim. You were unshakable, relentless, and untouchable in ways most people can't imagine. That is why loyalty to comfort is a trap, and loyalty to yourself is what ultimately earns the crown. Number 8. You stopped waiting to be chosen and chose yourself publicly. Most people wait for permission. They wait for invitations, approvals, or someone else's validation before taking action. They want a green light from the world, a nod from a superior, or the approval of peers before they make their move. You didn't wait. You chose yourself first, and you did it openly, boldly, and without hesitation. That decision, simple on the surface, revolutionary in impact, is what separates ordinary ambition from unstoppable force. By claiming your own authority, you removed the need for external validation and made your movement inevitable. Choosing yourself publicly is different from quiet confidence. It's not about silently believing in your abilities in the shadows. It's about announcing it through action, results, and unapologetic presence. You didn't whisper your ambitions. You executed them in a way that made observers realize they were no longer in control. By taking ownership of your path, you rewrote the rules. The world didn't have to say yes, because you had already decided yes for yourself. That energy, decisive, undeniable, self-claimed, is magnetic. It forces recognition not through demand, but through demonstration. This choice also creates accountability that no one else can enforce. When you choose yourself publicly, every action, every decision, and every outcome belongs to you entirely. Success is yours to claim. Failure is yours to learn from. There's no hiding behind excuses, authority, or external conditions. That level of ownership cultivates resilience, sharpens focus, and builds an internal authority that the world cannot ignore. By the time acknowledgement arrived, it wasn't luck or favor, it was inevitable. The universe doesn't crown those who wait quietly for a nod. It crowns those who step forward, claim their place, and demonstrate that their presence cannot be denied. Choosing yourself publicly is a declaration to the world. You are not waiting, you are not following, and your destiny is already in motion. That declaration is not noise, it is power. Number 9. You learn to carry weight without complaining about the load. Life doesn't hand out crowns to those who complain the loudest. It hands them to the ones who endure, adapt, and keep moving when the pressure is unbearable and nobody is watching. You learned this early. You realized that complaining about the load doesn't make it lighter. It only wastes energy that should be used to lift, move, or overcome. Most people stumble under responsibility, burdens, and expectations because they are busy rehearsing excuses instead of building strength. You didn't. You carried weight in silence, and in that silence something shifted. You became stronger, sharper, and unshakable. Carrying weight without complaint isn't just about physical or mental endurance, it's about ownership. Every challenge you accepted, every obstacle you faced, became yours entirely. You didn't pass the blame, outsource the responsibility, or cry for rescue. You stood alone, fully aware of the load and fully willing to bear it. That willingness to endure without drama created a gravity around you. People noticed it without knowing why. The universe noticed it without warning. There is a power in quiet strength that no speech, performance, or show of skill can replicate. This approach also teaches patience and perspective. When you stop whining about hardship, you begin to see patterns, solutions, and opportunities that others miss while they're busy complaining. You start to understand that weight is not just an obstacle. It's a test, a filter, and a forge. Every burden strengthens the parts of you that matter: focus, resilience, and determination. Most people run from pressure, but you learn to thrive under it, and that alone sets you apart. By the time recognition arrived, it wasn't accidental or convenient. It was inevitable. You had already proven you could handle more than anyone expected. You had proven that pressure doesn't break you, it shapes you. And that ability to carry weight without noise or complaint is exactly why the universe had no choice but to crown you. Strength like that demands acknowledgement, even if it arrives quietly at first. Number 10, you replaced identity labels with responsibility. Most people define themselves by who they think they are, by titles, labels, or what other people call them. I'm an artist. I'm a leader. I'm smart. These labels are comforting because they feel like identity, but they rarely carry accountability. You didn't settle for that. You realized early that labels are cheap and fragile. They can be given, taken, or ignored at any moment. Instead of clinging to what you were called, you focused on what you could handle, what you were responsible for, and what you actually delivered. Responsibility became your measure, not reputation, not perception, and certainly not approval. Replacing identity with responsibility is brutal but liberating. When you define yourself by your actions and obligations rather than titles, you stop hiding behind excuses, ego, or expectation. You stop saying, I'm only this, or I can't do that because it's not me. Instead, every challenge becomes an opportunity to prove your capability, and every task becomes a testament to your integrity. People might misunderstand your intentions, but responsibility never lies. It shows up in results, in follow-through, and in consistency. That is the kind of clarity the universe notices. Subtle, relentless, undeniable. This shift also forces growth in ways labels never can. When identity is tied to titles, fear of failure becomes suffocating. You worry about looking inconsistent, breaking an image, or disappointing expectations. Responsibility removes that limitation. It demands action regardless of comfort, image, or opinion. It forces you to expand, adapt, and deliver even when circumstances are harsh, unpredictable, or unfair. By doing so, you build credibility that no label, reputation, or external validation can match. By the time recognition came, it wasn't because you called yourself something or had people agree with you. It came because you carried more than most could, handled more than most would, and delivered more than anyone expected. The crown doesn't go to the person with the loudest label. It goes to the one whose responsibility has quietly proven them worthy. And you became exactly that. Number 11. You allowed yourself to outgrow versions of you that once felt sacred. Growth is uncomfortable. Real growth isn't about adding things to yourself. It's about shedding what no longer serves you, even if it once felt essential. Most people resist this. They cling to old versions of themselves because they are familiar, praised, or even romanticized. They hold on to identities, habits, and beliefs like security blankets, afraid that letting go means losing who they are. You didn't. You allowed yourself to outgrow the versions of you that were once sacred. And in doing so, you created space for power, clarity, and influence that could never have existed within those old limits. Outgrowing yourself doesn't mean forgetting your past. It means refusing to let it define your present. Every version of you that you leave behind carries lessons, scars, and victories, but it also carries limits. You stopped apologizing for evolving. You stopped mourning the familiarity of your old self. Instead, you embraced the hard truth. What got you here isn't enough to take you forward. That honesty is rare. Most people prefer comfort over progress, nostalgia over evolution. By refusing to stay tethered to outdated versions, you stepped into a force that the world couldn't ignore. This process is messy, often lonely, and sometimes even frightening. Old beliefs die slowly. Old identities resist, and old patterns try to pull you back. But every time you moved past them, you built resilience and sharpened your instincts. You became someone who didn't need reassurance to evolve, someone who didn't wait for permission to shed limitation. That self-reliance and adaptability is magnetic, even if it's invisible at first. When recognition finally arrived, it wasn't because anyone noticed the old you. It came because the new you had proven undeniable. The universe doesn't crown those who cling to who they were. It crowns those who have the courage to become who they must be. You didn't just change, you transformed. You didn't just survive, you leveled up. And that willingness to outgrow yourself became the foundation of your unshakable authority. Number 12. You stopped needing life to be fair before you moved forward. Waiting for life to be fair is the fastest way to stay stuck. Most people pause, hesitate, or quit entirely when circumstances seem unjust, when opportunities are blocked, or when the world doesn't hand them what they think they deserve. You didn't. You understood early on that fairness is irrelevant. It's a concept, not a requirement. Life doesn't negotiate. It doesn't balance scales, explain itself, or reward patience. You moved anyway, and that decision, that relentless refusal to wait for validation or equality, is what set you apart from everyone else. This mindset changes everything. When you stop waiting for fairness, you stop giving power to external conditions. Obstacles become challenges instead of excuses. Rejection becomes data instead of a verdict. You start to see life not as a series of punishments and rewards, but as a testing ground for strength, strategy, and resilience. Every unfair situation is now an opportunity to prove yourself, to stretch beyond the limits others accept, and to create results no one else thought possible. That is exactly how the universe begins to notice you. The truth is, most people never understand this. They spend their lives protesting circumstances, blaming others, or fantasizing about what should have happened. That energy, wasted on imagined justice, never produces results. You spent it building, acting, and growing. You turned every inequity into fuel, every setback into a step forward. You didn't need the world to recognize your effort because you recognized it first. That internal validation, combined with relentless action, forms a kind of authority that cannot be ignored. By the time recognition arrived, it wasn't because the world had suddenly become fair. It arrived because you had already proven that fairness was irrelevant to your success. You didn't wait for permission, validation, or balance. You moved forward anyway. That refusal to let life's injustice dictate your pace, strategy, or ambition made you untouchable. The crown doesn't go to the person who waits for fairness. It goes to the one who moves regardless, and that is exactly what you became. Number 13. You built internal stability instead of chasing external control. Most people spend their lives trying to control the world around them. They chase influence, manipulate circumstances, or hold on tightly to outcomes. Thinking that control equals power, you didn't. You realized early that controlling external factors is an illusion, fragile, unpredictable, and exhausting. Instead, you focused on building stability inside yourself, a foundation that no outside force could shake. That internal equilibrium became your secret weapon, the quiet engine behind every move, every decision, and every success. Internal stability isn't about being emotionless or detached. It's about being anchored. When chaos erupts outside, you remain steady because your center is rooted in capability, clarity, and self-trust, not in approval, luck, or circumstance. While others panic, overreact, or burn themselves trying to bend reality to their will, you maintain your course, seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. That calm, unwavering presence signals strength in a way no show of force ever could. People notice it. The universe notices it. And it is that internal mastery that eventually demands recognition. By focusing on stability over control, you also became resilient. You no longer relied on conditions, timing, or the behavior of others to succeed. Every setback became a lesson, every surprise a challenge to navigate, and every failure a refinement of your own systems. That resilience isn't visible at first glance, but it's magnetic. It draws opportunities, alliances, and respect without you ever having to force them. External chaos becomes irrelevant when your internal world is unshakable, and that irrelevance is where real influence begins. When the crown arrived, it wasn't because you manipulated circumstances or orchestrated outcomes perfectly. It came because you had built a foundation that didn't depend on anything outside yourself. You became untouchable, decisive, and inevitable, not because you controlled the world, but because the world couldn't control you. That is the kind of power most people never experience, and it is exactly why the universe had no choice but to crown you. Number 14. You became dangerous to stagnation simply by refusing to stop. Most people quit long before the finish line appears. They stop when the work gets hard, the results are slow, or the world doesn't notice. You didn't. You became dangerous to stagnation because stopping was never an option. Your persistence didn't come from stubbornness. It came from an unshakable understanding that motion is power and that inertia is the enemy of everything you wanted to become. By refusing to pause, hesitate, or surrender to doubt, you transformed yourself into a force the universe couldn't ignore. This danger isn't loud or flashy. It's quiet, relentless, and cumulative. Every small, consistent action you took chipped away at limits, dissolved barriers, and reshaped what was possible. While others waited for conditions to be perfect, for approval, or for motivation to strike, you kept moving. That momentum became magnetic, drawing opportunities, attention, and recognition toward you, even if the world wasn't initially aware of it. Stagnation fears persistence, but you didn't fear anything. It feared you. Refusing to stop also reshaped your identity. You weren't defined by luck, timing, or circumstance. You were defined by endurance, by the discipline to keep going when quitting was easy, and by the courage to keep building when progress felt invisible. That made you unshakable because your power didn't rely on external validation. It relied on an internal commitment so deep that giving up wasn't even a question. Every setback became fuel, every obstacle a test, and every delay a signal to double down. By the time recognition arrived, it wasn't a surprise. The universe didn't need to choose you. It had no choice. Your refusal to stop had made the crown inevitable. You didn't just move forward, you annihilated the possibility of stagnation around you. Your consistency, determination, and refusal to yield created a momentum that demanded acknowledgement. That is why the universe didn't crown you out of chance or favor. It crowned you because relentless movement had already made you untouchable, unstoppable, and unavoidable. Conclusion. Going solo isn't a path for the faint-hearted. It's a crucible that tests your vision, resilience, and character at every turn. Every step you took alone, every challenge you faced in silence, and every moment you chose action over comfort, forged the version of you that the universe could no longer ignore. You accepted obscurity before power noticed you. You trusted your own judgment when the world offered only confusion. You learned to endure being misunderstood, to carry weight without complaint, and to outgrow old versions of yourself without hesitation. You stopped waiting for fairness, for validation, or for someone else to give you permission, and in doing so, you became unstoppable. All these pieces, the discipline without supervision, the responsibility over labels, the ability to thrive in loneliness, and the relentless refusal to stop, combined to create a force that no external circumstance could sway. You didn't just survive the journey of independence, you mastered it. You transformed every obstacle into opportunity, every setback into fuel, and every moment of doubt into clarity. That is why the crown was never something to chase. It was something you earned silently, relentlessly, and without compromise. Your story proves a simple but profound truth. The universe rewards those who are willing to stand alone, act decisively, and persist when no one else believes it's possible. You became your own authority, your own compass, and your own unstoppable force. Recognition, power, and influence were inevitable because you had already proven, through action and endurance, that nothing could hold you back. If this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button to stay inspired, like if you feel empowered, comment to share your thoughts, and share with someone who needs this reminder. Your journey to greatness deserves an audience, and this is only the beginning. Stay blessed always.